My neighbor banged on my door at 5 a.m. and said, "Don't go to work today. Please, just trust me." I asked what was going on, and he looked pale, whispering, "You'll see by noon." At 11:30, I received a call from the police. It's me, Alyssa Rowan, sitting here in this little coffee shop in downtown Denver, black coffee, no sugar, same way I've taken it since Dad taught me how to drink it like a grown-up. I'm 33 now, and I still catch myself looking over my shoulder every time the bell above the door jingles. You'd think after everything I'd be used to it, but some habits die harder than others. Grab your own cup, pull up a chair, and let me tell you how one Tuesday morning turned my whole quiet Colorado life into something straight out of a nightmare I never auditioned for. It was still pitch black when the pounding started. Not a polite knock, not a neighbor borrowing sugar. This was the kind of knock that rattles the hinges and shoots ice water straight into your veins. I squinted at the red numbers on my alarm clock, 5:02 a.m., and my heart was already sprinting before my feet hit the cold hardwood. I threw on the old CU Boulder sweatshirt I'd been living in since college and crept to the front door of the little craftsman bungalow Grandma left me up in Highlands Ranch. The porch light was burned out, again, so all I could see through the peephole was a silhouette, shoulders hunched like he was carrying the weight of the world. I cracked the door, chain still on. Gabriel Stone, the guy next door, who never says more than morning when we grab the mail at the same time, stood there looking like he'd seen a ghost. His face was the color of printer paper, breath fogging in the November chill. "Don't go to work today," he rasped, voice barely above the wind. "Stay home. Just trust me." I blinked, brain still half asleep. Gabriel was the definition of low-key, ex-military buzzcut going gray at the temples, always in dark jeans and a Carhartt jacket, the kind of neighbor you wave at but don't invite to the block party potluck. "Gabriel, it's 5 in the morning." "What is this?" He glanced up and down the empty street like the shadows had ears. "Can't explain right now. Promise me you won't leave the house. Not for anything." Then he was gone, boots crunching across the frost-covered lawn back to his place. Door shut, no backward glance. I stood there with my hand frozen on the knob, the first pink smear of sunrise bleeding across the front range. Part of me wanted to laugh it off. Guy's having a psychotic break, maybe he forgot his meds. But another part, the part that grew up listening to Dad's cryptic warnings about watching your back, wouldn't let it go. 3 months earlier, Dad had clutched my hand at the kitchen table in his little condo in Aurora and said, "Lissa, there's stuff about our family you need to know. Soon." 2 days later, he was gone. Official cause, massive stroke. But the way his eyes had darted to the windows that last week, the way he'd started locking his office door even when it was just us, something hadn't added up. And ever since the funeral, weirdness had been creeping in like prairie wind through the cracks. Same dark SUV idling across the street for hours, phone calls where nobody breathed on the other end, my little sister Sophie FaceTiming from Qatar asking if I'd noticed any new faces around the neighborhood. So yeah, I texted my boss at Henning & Cole Investments, sorry, family emergency, won't be in, and I waited. The house felt louder than usual. The ancient fridge hummed like it was trying to tell me secrets. The grandfather clock in the hallway ticked like a countdown. By 11:30, I was pacing in fuzzy socks, laughing at myself for buying into neighborly conspiracy theories. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Ma'am, this is Officer Taylor, Arapahoe County, PD. You aware of an incident at your workplace this morning?" The floor tilted. "What kind of incident?" He exhaled like he was prepping for bad news. "Active shooter situation. Multiple casualties. We have you on camera arriving at 8:02 a.m., badge swipe, the whole nine. But you're not among the injured or the accounted for." My knees buckled. I grabbed the kitchen island to stay upright. "Officer, I've been home all morning. I never left." Long pause. "Can anyone verify that?" I looked around the empty house, sunlight striping the hardwood, coffee mug still half full on the counter, no witnesses but the dust bunnies. "I live alone." His voice dropped. "Units en route to your address. Do not leave the premises." The call ended and the room spun. Someone had my car, or a perfect copy. Someone had my badge. Someone wanted the world to think Alyssa Rowan walked into that building and never walked out. Or worse, walked in and did something unthinkable. I killed the lights, yanked every blind shut, and tried to breathe. Another knock. 3 sharp raps that sounded way too official. Then Gabriel's voice low through the door. Alyssa, it's me. Open up. We don't have much time. How do you know the cops just called? I hissed, forehead pressed to the wood. Because they're not cops, not really. Open the door. I did. He slipped inside like a shadow, locked it behind him, and scanned the street through the sidelight. They're coming to take you into federal custody. You were supposed to be in that building, Lissa, not as a victim, as the fall guy. The words punched the air out of me. Fall guy for what? He didn't answer right away. Instead, he moved to the kitchen window, eyes tracking something I couldn't see. I didn't move in next door by accident. Your dad asked me to watch over you. Dad. The quiet accountant who loved Broncos games and burnt toast. You're insane. Gabriel reached into his jacket and pulled out a black envelope, the kind you see in spy movies. My name in Dad's handwriting on the front. My fingers went numb as I opened it. Alyssa, if you're reading this, they've made their move. You're in danger because of who you are, not what you've done. Gabriel will fill in the blanks. Trust him like you trusted me. Whatever you do, do not let them take you alive. They'll rewrite you until the girl I raised never existed. Greater than I love you, more than sunrise over the Rockies. Greater than Dad. The paper shook in my hands. Gabriel's voice cut through the roar in my ears. 20 years ago, your father stumbled onto a black-budget biogenetics program, Project Origin. They weren't curing cancer, Lissa. They were engineering kids. Super immunity, accelerated healing, the works. You weren't adopted. You were born in a lab in New Mexico, then placed with your parents to monitor long-term outcomes. When your dad found out, he threatened to blow it wide open. They poisoned him with a synthetic neurotoxin, made it look like a stroke. I couldn't feel my legs. Why frame me now? Because your annual blood panel last month lit up their system like Christmas. Your markers hit critical. They needed a controlled extraction, but you've been asking too many questions since your dad died. So plan B, stage a workplace massacre, pin it on the unstable employee, grab you in the chaos, and disappear the evidence. Clean narrative, no loose ends. Sirens in the distance, close, too close. Gabriel pressed a matte black keycard into my palm. Red emblem. Secure vault outside Colorado Springs. Everything your dad died to protect is inside. We get there first. We get the truth out. We don't. You vanish into a black site, and the world remembers you as a monster. I stared at the card, then at the man who'd been watering his lawn every Saturday for a year while secretly guarding my life. Why you? Your dad saved my life in Kandahar. I owed him a debt I could never repay. This is it. The sirens cut off mid-wail, stealth mode. Black SUVs rolled silent onto my street like panthers. Gabriel grabbed my arm. Back door, now. We sprinted through the yard, hopped the fence into his garage. His Tahoe roared to life before my butt hit the seat. Tires screamed. In the rear view, two guys in tactical vests stepped out of an unmarked Suburban. No lights, no markings, just purpose. One raised a radio. The look on his face wasn't urgency. It was ownership. We hit I-25 doing 90, morning commuters parting like the Red Sea. Gabriel handed me a tablet. File open. Rowan, Alyssa. Subject 7B, genomic asset. Immune profile off the charts. Regenerative platelet response. Phase 2 integration approved. I scrolled, bile rising. Childhood medical records I'd never seen. Blood draws labeled non-consensual. A photo of me at 6 years old, asleep in a hospital bed I'd done. This is me? Your dad found the file when you were 8. Tried to pull you out. They threatened Sophie overseas to keep him quiet. He spent the next 25 years gathering evidence, waiting for the day you'd be old enough to fight back. The mountains blurred past, golden aspens streaking like fire. So, what am I? Proof they don't need test tubes anymore. You're the naturally occurring upgrade they've been chasing. And today was supposed to be your expiration date. We veered off near Monument, bounced down a Forest Service road until pavement turned to gravel, turned to dirt. The bunker looked like an abandoned Cold War relic, half swallowed by pine and scrub oak. Gabriel killed the engine. Last chance to walk away. I laughed. Actually laughed. They've been hunting me since before I could spell my name. Time I hunt back. The vault door was a 10-ton steel iris. Gabriel pointed to a biometric pad. Only Rowan DNA opens it. I pressed my palm. Green light. Gears groaned like they'd been holding their breath for decades. Cold air rolled out carrying the scent of old paper and ozone. Inside, rows of black lockboxes, LED strips flickering awake. Center pedestal, glass case, leather journal. Dad's handwriting on the bookmark. Greater than my girl, greater than you were never theirs. You were the glitch in their matrix. Press revelation. Let the world see what they've done. Then run like hell and live free. Love always. Dad. 2 buttons glowed under the glass. Acquisition equals surrender. Revelation equals exposure. I didn't hesitate. Revelation. Screens flared. Terabytes of classified docs, names, offshore accounts, lab footage, death certificates, streamed to every major news outlet, encrypted but self-decrypting in 60 minutes. Alarms shrieked, red strobes painted the walls bloody. Gabriel yanked me toward a side tunnel. Choppers inbound. Move! We burst into the night as floodlights sliced the treetops. Blackhawks thundered overhead, but I wasn't running scared anymore. I was the spark that just lit the fuse. Somewhere out there, anchors are opening files they can't unsee. Politicians are sweating. And me? I'm just a Colorado girl with exceptional blood and a dad who taught me the Broncos always come back in the fourth quarter. So yeah, that's how my Tuesday went. If you're watching this from your couch in Ohio, your apartment in Austin, your deer stand in Michigan, drop a comment, tell me where you're at. Because the story doesn't end in a bunker. It ends with people like you refusing to look away. I'm Alyssa Rowan. I used to balance hedge funds, now I balance truth. And I'm just getting started.